Hello everybody, Silas back again today, and we've got a little bit different. It's still junkyard themed, but it's a little bit different than what I've been filming lately. What I'm going to do today though is I've got a pile of motors here and I've got to get these processed and moved. As you guys know, I'd cleared this area out once upon a time. All those cars back there were stacked or lined up in this area. They weren't stacked up. Now they're stacked up. I have put a few old trucks and a few other things here that I bought at that auction. I'm going to move all that on Saturday, so that's not a real big deal. But I've got this pile of motors here that was left over from the day where I moved all those cars. These are almost all aluminum engines with aluminum transmissions attached to them still. The reason why these are here is because most of them, well actually all of these, had catalytic converters on the manifold still, and I couldn't pull them without pulling the motor. So I used the excavator to rip these out, and I just threw them all over here in this pile until I had time to go through them. Now I have to move them. I don't want to move them again and again and again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and pull all of the catalytic converters off of these, and then I can save those, and then I can take the rest of them and I can stack them out back in an aluminum pile and wait for prices to go up on breakage. So basically what the purpose of this video is I want to see roughly what this pile of motors is worth. These are all ones I pulled out of cars, like I say, and I didn't really pay attention to what converters were on what, so I really don't know what the value of this pile is. Now I did pull one off already, and I started going through these and I thought, wait a second, this will make a cool video. I better just stop here. So I'm going to go through these, and when we're done, I'll kind of add it all up, and I will have to estimate on the weight of the engines a little bit, but I do know roughly what they weigh because I've pulled a million of them. And then I'll go through and look up the numbers on the catalytic converters, see what they're worth, add it all up, and I'll let you guys know what this stuff is worth. I always think it's kind of fun to look at a pile of stuff like this and say, okay, now this is what I think it's worth, and then process it, and then say, okay, now this is what it was actually worth, and then see how close I was. So just looking at this pile here, I think there's around 20, maybe 25 engines in this pile. I'm really not sure. Most of them still have transmissions. A few of them don't. There's actually two more over there. You can kind of see them back through there by that tree. That's where I'm going to be stacking the pile. Now those still have converters on those as well. So just by looking at this pile, rough guesstimate, I really don't know for sure. I don't remember what all's in here. Some of these I pulled a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. Well, not 2 years ago. I didn't own this 2 years ago. So probably about a year and a half ago. But my guess is somewhere around $3,500 total value, counting the aluminum and the catalytic converters. I'm not sure how many catalytic converters are left in this pile, because some of these I already went through and pulled the converters off and then just threw the engines. And then also I'm guessing that value at today's prices. Now right now aluminum is way down, so when we're all done and I kind of know exactly what's here, I'll be able to tell you guys what they're worth at today's prices and what they'll be worth when we actually sell them, because we kind of have a point where we like to sell stuff, and right now it's below that point, so we're not going to bother selling at least the aluminum breakage. Converters, they seem to grow legs and disappear if you don't sell them pretty quick. So whatever I pull off of these, I'm going to put in storage, and we're about to ship another load of those out. All right, y'all, I'm just taking a break. Right now, it's about 20 degrees and blowing wind outside, so it is not that nice. But I want you to imagine that it's a nice spring day and you're ready to go for a walk. But you open up the window, you look outside, and what do you know? It just got done raining. So now you're thinking to yourself, well, I can't go for a walk. I'll get my shoes all wet and get my socks all wet, and that just won't be any fun. Now, normally, if you want to go for a walk in places where it's a little bit rainy, a little bit muddy, a little bit wet, you'd have to wear something like this. And I have to wear these for work, but I'm just going to tell you right now, if I'm just going for a nice, relaxing walk, I don't want to wear these. When I'm not working, I like to wear comfortable shoes, and that's what these are. Today's video is brought to you by Vessi, and these are some of the absolute most comfortable and lightweight shoes that I've ever had. Now, Vessi claims that these shoes are 100% waterproof. Unfortunately, we're in the middle of a severe drought right now, and we haven't had a drop of moisture, so it's been kind of hard to test them out outside, but we're going to test them out inside. So what we're going to do is we're going to simulate a muddy puddle without the mud. I'm going to step into this baking dish full of water and see if my socks stay dry, and then I'm going to dump some water on top of my foot. Guys, my sock is completely dry. Not a single bit of water on it. Whatever you guys do, please don't tell my wife what I just did. Even though we're in a drought, it's not like I have to wait until we get rain to wear these. These things are so comfortable, I can just wear these as my go-to shoes every day. Now you remember, I just told you it's about 20 degrees outside. These shoes are made out of Diamond-Tex material, and a lot of times waterproof shoes aren't very warm. I'm standing outside in shoes that I was just standing in water with, and my feet aren't cold at all. So if you're looking for a new, everyday, go-to pair of shoes, I highly recommend Vessi. Right now is a great time to buy them as well, because Vessi is giving away a free pair of socks to the first 100 people to use the code AMFS. They're also running an early Black Friday sale, so go to vessi.com/AMFS. I'll put a link in the description below, so check that out. And thanks again to Vessi for sponsoring today's video and for making videos like this possible. Well, that didn't work. I've got this old worn out extension. I think I have a good extension over in the truck. It's just really, really long. but it's better than this one. This one's a little bit wallowed out, on this end it must be anyway. And there we go, it is off of there. Now I'm not going to bother taking that one down any further. That'll fit in the box just like it is. Kind of had a little bit of an issue getting to that one because the heat shield was on there, and the way you're supposed to take the heat shield off is to take this off, then you can get to the last bolt on the heat shield, and that wasn't working well. The problem I'm having with this extension here is it's really nice, the length on it, but it has the wobble head, which is okay sometimes and actually really handy sometimes. But for that bolt there, I needed to put torque on it like that to push the heat shield out of the way. So because of that, I actually had to switch back to this one. That way I could put some torque on it, smack it with the hammer a couple times, and it popped onto the head of the bolt like that, like it needed to, or the nut. And this in here just won't stay on there very good. So I guess I need to put that on my shopping list as a set of extensions that are like this, that don't have the wobble on them, but they're not worn out either. I found this one in the car, so I guess I can't complain. And y'all, please excuse my voice. My voice was fine all day long. And then I start recording and it goes out on me. And I think the reason why is because I actually had to go buy a brand new 12mm socket. I couldn't find mine. So I went out and bought one, and Chick-fil-A was right next door. So I thought I'm gonna stop in there. So I stopped in, got a spicy sandwich like I always get. And today it was ultra spicy or something, I don't know, but it's messing with my throat. I'll do the best I can do. I'm walking over here now. I've got to get a pry bar. There we go. That'll make life a little bit easier. Now I can pry some of those heat shields out of the way a little bit better. And of course, now it's raining. This has been taking me longer than I thought it was going to, mainly because my phone won't quit ringing. Now, before it starts absolutely pouring down rain, I'm going to get back to work. And if it does start pouring down rain, I'll probably have to switch over to the GoPro. Sometimes I feel like they make these engines as complicated as possible on purpose. That one up in there, I can't get a socket on it. And I don't have any wrenches, so I'm not entirely sure what to do there. Hopefully it's just that one, so hopefully I can just bust it off. And there we go, came right out of there. That one there is hollow, so I ain't gonna bother taking that one off. That one I think is gone on this side. There's still one on the other side, but I can't roll that over by hand. That one there has one bolt that I can't get off because evidently the excavator tore it up a little bit. So that one there I have to bust off the rest of the way. That one I got to get out. So Got a handful of these that are ready to go. So what I'm going to do just to make life a little bit easier is I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the claw, because these forks are okay, they work okay, but for this job here, I think the claw is going to make life a little bit easier. There we go, all stacked up, nice and neat. Looks beautiful, doesn't it? I got a little bit of grass and dirt in there, but not too bad. There's actually these 3 motors laying here still. I got the converters off of them, but I forgot to throw them in the pile. Altogether, there's about 26 engines in this pile. Now, most of them still had the transmissions. A few did not. However, there were a bunch of loose transmissions laying around, so it more than makes up for the ones that were missing transmissions. A V6 engine with transmission, complete with everything on it still, weighs between 600 and 700 pounds. I know like a 3.3 Chrysler weighs like 660 to 680 pounds. Your 4 cylinders and things like that with the transmission on them weigh a little under 400 pounds usually. So if you figured very conservatively, you could say there was about 500 pounds per engine times 26. If I did my math correctly, I think that comes out to about 13,000 pounds. And at today's price, we're getting about 15 cents a pound for stuff like that. That comes out to just under $2,000, about $1,950 is what that comes out to. So that's actually more than I was thinking. When I first looked at the pile, I was figuring about $1,500 in aluminum. That being said, we are not going to sell those at 15 cents a pound if we can at all help it. Last time we sold those, I think we got like 28 cents a pound is what we got out of those. Now, I don't know that aluminum will go that high again, but historically over the last few years, they've been around 20 to 25 cents a pound. I have no doubt that they'll bounce up and hit 25 cents a pound again, so that'll put it a little over $3,000. I think it's $32.50 or something like that. I don't remember what it was now. But like I said, I want to figure these at today's prices, so for now we're just going to go with $19.50. And that's a very conservative estimate. Honestly, we could probably say $2,000 and that'll be more than fair. Now I've kind of got to go through these here. Some of these, a lot of these will have numbers on them. A few of them won't. Like the Hondas won't have numbers. I think there's a couple Mazdas, but everything else should have numbers on it. So I'm going to have to go through, look up the numbers, and see what these are worth. I think there were only 2 aftermarkets. There's one down there, and then there's one over there. All the rest of these are OEM converters, and they're all full, except for this one is missing a tiny bit, but not enough to really affect the price. This is a case here of how converters are so different one from another. These two over here are worth a tiny bit more than these two here. Both of them came off of a Taurus. They're 1 year apart, I think. You can kind of see how those have heat shields and these don't. But there's about a $15 difference between these. These are about $175 each. These are about $160 each. Even these two here are actually a little bit different. I think that one's $167 and that one's $154. So if you average it out, it comes out to $160.50 each. So I just said $160 each. Kind of the same thing over here. Here's another case here where there's quite a bit of difference in price. The right side of this Toyota is worth $236. The left side is worth $216. So there's a $20 difference between each side. Some of these are wires, like this one here. Now this is actually a pretty good size wire, so it's worth a little bit of money. And then this one here is the #1 converter so far. It was $400. I think this one's a wire as well. Yeah, you can kind of see how it's coiled up in there like a cinnamon roll. That's what makes it a wire instead of a regular converter. Because if you look at a normal biscuit, if I can find one you can see inside of, see like that there, how it's more of a grid pattern. Chrysler's will be more of a triangle pattern, but all grid patterns have some sort except for these, and they're all coiled up like that. And there's 2 categories. There's foreign and there's domestic, and they're worth a different price each, but they're just bought by the pound mainly. They don't buy them by the pound of the whole converter. But this one's kind of an oddball. I can't really tell. That's either a 2 or a 3 pounder. I can't quite tell on that one. Okay, altogether it came out to $5,700. I got them all added up. Actually, it was $5,698, but we're going to call it $5,700, so it's a nice even number. Now, right now, as of recording this, palladium and rhodium aren't doing very good. Platinum is still decent, but the others aren't. So that's at today's prices. Who knows what they'll be when we actually sell these. And then on top of that, the company that we send these to, we don't have to get paid right away. We can just let the metal sit there until prices change. For example, the last batch that we sent in, when we sent them in, prices were pretty good, and then prices immediately dropped, and they just went way, way, way down. And now prices have bounced back up a little bit from the bottom, not all the way, but a little bit. So we went ahead and cashed in all of the platinum and the palladium that we had sent in, but we let the rhodium sit. We'll do the same thing on these. We'll probably just let it all sit for now, and hopefully maybe after the first of the year, things will come back, but we can sell it at any point in time. It's up to us to choose. So that's pretty handy. That way we can get them off of the property. That way nobody steals them. But at the same time, we can kind of invest in them, and we can kind of wait and see what prices do. Back in the day, if we wanted to wait for prices to go up, we actually had to hide them somewhere, and we do put them in storage, and that way nobody knows where they're at. But if somebody ever did find out where they're at, and people have found out where they were at in the past, back when we actually used to keep them at the yard, and people would break in and steal them, and it was just always a nightmare. So this way, with this company here, as soon as we get enough boxes, we just send them in, get rid of them, and that way they're off our property, they get processed, and they get processed to the raw form of platinum, palladium, and rhodium. They have it all stored securely, and that way everything is safe, and nobody has to worry about stuff getting legs and walking away. But anyway, that puts us at $7,700. I am absolutely blown away. That is more than double my initial estimate. I was way, way low. Part of that is because there were way more converters here than I thought there were. And I think there was, 4 of these. 4 of these were pretty valuable converters that were worth $300 to $400. Now, you got to remember there was 26 engines there. Those were all in cars that we paid for, and we paid anywhere from $200 to $500 a piece for those cars, so that's not all profit. Plus, we've got time and my wages and everything else involved, fuel, the whole 9 yards. So it's not like, oh, free $7,700. Any of you that have run a business, you know how it. I just realized my hands are absolutely filthy, and I have to drive my nice truck home, so I'll have to figure that one out. Sorry, I had a ADD moment. But anyway, those of you who have run businesses before, you know how it is, and those of you who haven't run businesses, don't think it's because I say these numbers that there's just money falling out of the sky, because we do have to pay. Now, we are making a profit, but we're in business to make a profit. And if we weren't making a profit, we would lock the gate and go home and never come back. But it's starting to rain pretty good now, and it looks like there's more storm clouds rolling in, so it's about to start pouring down rain on the radar at least. So I got to go ahead and get all these picked up, but I'm definitely glad to have this area cleared up now. I got those batteries over there and 2 aluminum wheels. I'll have to move those. And other than that, everything else in this area is done. I just got to move all these big grain trucks and all this stuff out of here, and the stuff I bought at the auction. There's a truck that just came in the other day you guys haven't seen yet. The blue truck over there is one that I sold the cabin front clip off. Maybe Saturday I'll come out here and pull that off so I can take it out of here. But yeah, as long as the weather holds out, I plan on coming out here Saturday and moving the stuff. If not Saturday, I'll come out here next week and get it all moved. And then this area will be wide open, and then I'll be able to start moving old cars from our main yard. All those ones that I moved from the yard that I work at, I have to move them back somewhere. I have to get them out of that storage lot. So this is the area I want to put them. And I want to line them up nice and neat that way, because some of those are pretty nice cars that I think I can sell. Just before, they were always so buried I can never get them out. Whereas now, if I line them up, I can actually get them out to sell them. And the rougher ones, I'll just go ahead and stash out back in the trees. Okay, so I went ahead and did a little bit of math. And I'm not going to assume that the beginning of this year, like I mentioned a minute ago, price of catalytic converters was sky high. And now I'm not going to assume it's going to get to that point again, because those were record highs. And everybody loves those record highs, but there's a reason why they're records. They don't happen very often. But let's just assume they go up a little bit more. They're probably looking around, by the time we sell these, instead of being $5,700, it'll probably be more like in the neighborhood of $6,500 to $7,000, probably around $7,000. And then that pile of aluminum back there, we'll figure kind of low still, but probably at least $3,000 is what we'll get out of that. So about $10,000 is what we will actually get out of this stuff, hopefully. $7,700 is today's price. $10,000 is hopefully tomorrow's price. We'll see what happens. Now, tomorrow's price might be $5,000 for everything. You just never know in today's market. It's crazy out there. We're hearing bad things on price for cars at least, but converters have held pretty steady. They've gone down, but they bounced back up a little bit, and they've just been riding steady. I hope you guys enjoy this one. Something different. Just I like doing these videos where here's what I have. This is what I think it's worth. What's it actually worth? I've done that a few times, and I enjoy doing it every time, and people watch the videos, and you guys seem to like it too, so I guess I'll keep doing it until you guys quit watching them. I'm kind of thinking about taking a car, just one car, and process it down as far as possible and see how much money is actually in a car. If you guys think that's a good idea, let me know in the comments. And I'm talking like really take it down further than I take them down, because us as a big business, as many cars as we get, it's not worth it to fully process a car. But I'm thinking about taking a weekend and fully processing a car as if that was the only car I had to do, and just kind of see what it would be worth. If you guys think that's a cool idea, let me know in the comments. But with that, I'm going to try to figure out how to get home with my filthy hands. Hopefully I have something I can wipe them off a little bit with. I don't want to get my steering wheel filthy. I've got a towel I can throw on the seat, so I won't get the seat filthy at least. But anyway, I'll let you all go. I hope you guys enjoy this. Please give me a thumbs up on this video if you did enjoy it. As always, I hope you have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. And remember to get out there and find an adventure, even if it's tearing up greasy engines and things like that. We'll see you next time. Woo, literally as soon as I closed this video out, it started pouring down rain. So I'm definitely glad I closed when I did. I still had to pick up my tools, so I got a little bit wet, but not as bad as I would have been if I would have been here another 5 minutes. Absolute drencher out there, but we need the rain, that's for sure. I just remembered I have a whole bag of these in my truck. They're called cold shower cooling field towels. I don't know. I got them during the summertime. Some people gave them to me. And I didn't really use them during the summer, but since I started driving this truck more often, I found that these are really handy for wiping my hands down. That way I don't get my steering wheel too filthy. And with that, I'll for real see you later this time. Y'all have a good night.